everyone, it's Paige with The Paige Show. I hope you love what you're watching or listening to today. Don't forget to share the love, follow us on social media, subscribe where you can, and go to thepageshow.com where you'll find some of my favorite things. If you believe in the power of crystals to heal from the inside out, then check out Gem Water, crystal-infused water bottles, and maybe one of my favorite things will become your favorite thing too. Hey everyone, it's Paige with The Paige Show. Welcome to today's episode. I hope you're enjoying what you're hearing and watching with The Paige Show. Today it is called The Driver's Seat. And so it's all about that soul, physical body connection and who's really in charge, who's the driver. And so the soul, that energy that's in us that understands our contract even when we can't remember it, is the driver of this physical experience, this physical body. If we let it lead the way, if we let it drive us to our destination, like those amazing like Teslas out there that you can just, push a button and here you are, you're at your destination. All right, don't advise not actually looking at the road, but just the fact that we have a technology like that is pretty freaking amazing. That is kind of what's happening on a soul level, a spiritual level, is your soul is the driver. You could just push the button, say, hey, I'm clocked into life, and let it really guide your path, guide your destination, all right? But how do we get fuel for the car, right? The car's gotta go. The soul's the driver. What's the fuel for the car? What is your fuel? That's what I'm asking as the driver's seat. The driver should know that, right? So if you're the driver of this experience, you're letting your soul do it, you got to understand where your fuel comes from and what it looks like. So have you thought about that? Have you thought about what is your fuel and if you're doing anything to refuel yourself? I'll give you a couple of examples. Physical exercise is huge, but you have to do it in a way that serves you, something that you're actually gonna like get up and do. So for me, martial arts is huge for that. Yoga is huge for that. If you ask me just to go to a gym and be on a treadmill, I feel like I'm a mouse in a cage and it's not happening. It's just not my thing. It doesn't speak to my soul, right? But I did find the importance of physical activity. We have to keep these physical bodies, the car, in shape, right? And I had to find what worked for me to do that, all right? And that's a constant battle to find or to fit that into life when you're doing a lot of things, right? Sometimes it's just if you go to a job, clock in, and you have no other responsibilities, that alone can be hard to have the motivation to go and work out. So imagine if you're a person with many titles and many hats, right? It's understandable why, but you gotta still you gotta keep that car in shape. So one type of fuel is physical exercise, just getting out, walking, getting fresh air, all of those things, right? Another thing is, for me, as an example of fuel, would be time with like friends. Connection is huge for me. Time with my partner, alone time where it's not like kids around jumping on us and interrupting. All of those things really fuel my soul, the driver of my experience, all right? And then, doing this work, so finding a passion that then could lead to a purpose. I talk about that all the time on this show, that our real purpose is just to live the human experience, but if you can find some passion along the way, let your passion lead you to your purpose, because our purpose is to live, but we've got to enjoy the human experience. We've got to find a way to, at least, even when it's ugly. So, passion can help get us through that and can help us feel like our purpose is bigger than just really existing, all right? So finding your passion, that's one way to really fuel yourself. Another way is to really focus on healing. So we all have our shadow sides of ourselves, parts that need to be released and parts that are just going to remain part of our story, and we just have to bond with them. Remember, we talked about bonding versus banishing, and we can't banish it all. And so sometimes we got to bond with it. And so part of the healing process, walking out what needs healing in your life, taking responsibility for that, is the biggest fuel for the driver of your experience, the soul. Because the soul functions better when we are working through the things that make us shut down, the things that pull us away from understanding we're these spiritual beings, those lower vibration energies of hate and discord, just all of those things that you can hear in my voice shifts when you say them, the things that are really easy to tap into sometimes, anger and rage. Those would be my big ones. I can tap into those pretty fast, all right? A light worker or not, I think sometimes it's a curse because you're so in tune with all of the pieces of you that you can jump into them whenever you feel called upon or threatened or all of the above. And so healing those parts of yourself, really healing the driver, is the biggest fuel that will keep this experience going, all right? And I think we all know what I'm talking about with that. It's the only way to really get you to tap in as the driver and actually drive the car, the experience, all right? And then, really finding something that fuels you. I'm looking up as if there's like a magical answer there. You'll see that I do that a lot. Like it's almost like, come on, Spirit, give us the magical clue here. But it's finding something that that feels like it fuels you in whatever outlet that is. So, finding something outside your norm, like what you have to do, what your obligations are. Physical exercise can very much be like an obligation to your experience. It's not something you enjoy, but we know we've got to do it. Diet and all that goes into there, but this is not the show for that. I will not speak about any of that, at least not yet. So, but all of that can be more of an obligation, though very necessary fuel. So, we've kind of broken down some of the necessity types of fuel, but overall, to really enjoy your experience and enjoy being the driver of the car, you need to find the fuel that feeds the soul, that really feeds you, that passion that we're talking about. And so finding something that you love, that when you're done doing it, you just feel lighter and better. Like that your soul has been fueled up. You don't feel drained from the experience. And then on the other hand, creating some really good boundaries where you're not always a part of an experience where you feel the opposite, where you feel like, oh my God, I just wasted 3 hours of my life. Now I'm going to have to spend 6 of it getting refueled from that experience. If any of that speaks to you, whatever just came to your mind, that is your clue. That one probably needs to go more towards questioning its place in your life. Like if it's something that can be banished, great. If it's not, then we're talking about, how do we bond with it then in the correct way so that it is no longer taking away your fuel. So I have to bring that piece in when we're talking about being refueled. But overall, when we're talking about the driver of the car, again, we're talking about your soul, what you need to do to fuel up so that you can stay the driver of your car, the driver of this human experience. I shared a few of my examples. I'm sure you guys have plenty more, and my only real goal today was to get you to think about what it is that you're doing, how you're fueling the driver of your experience, your soul. And if you're not, hopefully this will wake you up and tell you, okay, now it's time. The fire is lit under your ass. It is ready to go, and you'll start fueling up from this moment on.